first of all, what we need to do is we need to, to further develop the strategy that has been maturing across now 2 administrations to counter various forms of Chinese aggression, including cyber aggression and economic aggression and physical aggression. And I think that what is needed is really an effort around, kind of a problem statement of how to prevent China from establishing exclusionary areas of primacy across the Indo-Pacific and creating new spheres of influence internationally that allow China to rewrite the rules of international discourse in a way that favors their statist economic model and their authoritarian governance model. And so that would be kind of like the overall challenge, and there'll be multiple components to that, as you mentioned. I do believe we have to impose very significant costs on the CCP and the PRC about these massive cyber intrusions. I mean, hell, they listened to President Trump's phone, and everybody around him for 6 months, right? They've stolen extraordinary amounts of data. We've found them on our telecom networks, and I believe that what China is doing, and this is, I mean, you might think I'm kind of crazy for saying this, but I think that China is laying the groundwork for a first strike nuclear capability against the United States. And the reason I've come to that conclusion is I've looked at what they're doing from a cyber perspective and really developing at least a latent capability to take down our communications networks, as well as a massive buildup in their strategic forces, a 400% increase in their strategic nuclear forces, for example, as well as what their overall surveillance and intelligence collection capabilities have focused on, which is quite heavily on our strategic forces. So, I mean, if that's the case, we should be quite serious about this. And from a defense perspective, with a layered kind of active defense for our critical infrastructure, but also with an offensive capability in cyberspace, but also from an economic and financial perspective. I mean, if they're going to play this game, we ought to impose very significant costs and maybe exacerbate some of the very significant difficulties they have associated with their economic growth, which is probably half of what their Bureau of Statistics has announced. The massive youth unemployment that they have, the housing crisis, the debt crisis, and so forth. So, I mean, I think we have to counter their various forms of aggression, and we should do it in a holistic way